But I want to put this out here today to show you where we are in terms of measurement as it ties to goals, the content we put out here, the dollar a day strategy, other content we want to put out to try to drive more streams, more listeners, more people to the site, more people on social, and share some kind of interesting things that we found so far. Mr. Anderson.
There it is.
People say that to you all the time, right?
It's come up, yeah.
And we have some other people I see are coming, right? I saw that registered.
Yeah, I think Brent's going to come. Trev's in on this.
Okay.
I'm just going to nudge them here shortly. Where do we find you today, Dennis? I'm
in Salt Lake City, where it's a very salty lake. And I'm doing some training here. I'm going to pull a link here for Daniel, who's coming in, just to pop it for the first part. There we go.
Brent.
Do you have some community managers, Doug? I think maybe I'd ask this, that respond online or share or this kind of thing.
Yeah, in each one of our centers, I mean, we have a program director that's responsible for steering the news content in each one of those centers.
Okay. But also engaging on social? To
a point where we're in a funny spot these days with that convoy coming across Ottawa and the insane polarization that we've seen. So as a result, I mean, a lot of the stories we're putting up, I mean, we've just turned comments off.
It's craziness. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it's hard to believe that, a news outlet in Humboldt, Saskatchewan can be labeled fake news, but here we are.
Why would that happen?
Well, I think they're taking their leads from what's happened for the last 4 or 5 years in the States. And I mean, the former president did a really good job cementing those two words.
Oh no. Yeah.
So now if there's an opinion that's different from what I hold, I mean, it's not enough to have a discussion anymore. It's just, you're wrong. And my job is to discount you. So we're in that. And yeah, the guys in the trucks, I don't know if you saw those stories, but I mean, they certainly haven't done us any favors.
Hey, Jeremy, it looks like you're under my name. Is Daniel says he's in the waiting room. Is this our Zoom?
Brent is saying the host is waiting to get let in too.
Okay. Do I have host? I think Jeremy, who's got my name. Jeremy, are you there? You're on mute.
Trev's waiting too.
Oh, there he's coming in. There we go. Jeremy, can we hear you? No? Can't hear you. Look at this for our radio station friends with great audio. There he is. Hey, Trev.
Hey, I apologize. I'm not sure why I wasn't in, but now I am.
Our Zoom is goofy.
All right.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Oh, your sound is working. Oh, good.
There it is. I had to switch my microphone.
All right, too many microphones. I've got my Rode Wireless Go, but I think the MacBook Pro is actually better because whatever. Well, I'm glad that you guys all were able to make it, and thanks for being patient in scheduling this kickoff call. And good to meet you, Trev. So I wanted to share with you what we call the quick audit, which is our quick review of the 3 sites and the different stations and tying together the digital plumbing, which Daniel has worked on, which is all the stats and analytics, to the content that we have. So we've done some light content analysis. You guys have put together the initial content library, which is great. So we can start building the greatest hits.
Yep.
And then we record this as well. This is in our Zoom. So we share this out afterwards as well. So we have the 6-phase process we call the social amplification engine. So we're socially amplifying all these things that we detect, especially on social, that are driving engagement. So not convoy trucker stuff, because that's just going to drive more nonsense. But things that we see are evergreen, or content that we see that could be made evergreen, like we've seen. Oh, there's Brent. Hey, Brent.
Hi there.
How are you?
Doing well. Sorry for the delay. I wasn't being let in, but I must have been doing something wrong. Not wrong.
I think we were trying to shut you out.
That was
Yeah. I could hear all the partying on the other side of the door.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, so Daniel, let's walk us through plumbing, and then Jeremy and I will take over the content and analytics part.
Good. All right. So Brent and I have been working closely together on all this. Thank you for all the help, Brent. But what we've done is we've gone through and we've set up all of the different tracking elements, all the remarketing pieces into Google Tag Manager, so that you can keep all your tracking elements in the same place. But then beyond that, what we've done is we have set up two primary conversion goals that end up to be a couple different events. I've been asked to set up tracking so that you guys can attribute back to different advertising platforms when somebody clicks to stream one of the radio stations or goes to visit the podcast. We also talked about how, article reads and things like that are an important goal for you, but because of the base function of Google Analytics, you can kind of see that data already. So we wanted to really narrow in and focus in so you guys could see when somebody goes from, Google Organic or from your Facebook ads, from your Google ads, anything like that. And so you can attribute back when someone actually goes and watches or listens to the radio or goes and looks at a podcast. And so I'll share my screen really quick just to walk you through what we got. And I'll just show you on just the discoverestevan.com site, because everything is pretty similar. It's all built around the same engine. But essentially what we have is we have these base elements, right? We've got the Facebook pixel, we've got universal analytics so that you guys can keep that base one, and then we've got GA4. And I noticed as I hopped in today that somebody popped in and paused these. So I'll have to talk to Brent about what's going on there. I know there was some caching things you were exploring, so maybe it's something to do with that. But once we've got all that explored, we can turn these back on and you'll have your Google Tag Manager will handle all of these base remarketing elements. And then what we did is we set up specific conversion events that pass pieces of information back to these kind of general pixels and tell them when a key event has happened. So we've got the two things. First, we've got these Podcastville clicks. We figured out that based on how Podcastville works and kind of the system that you use to run your podcasts, it's going to be really difficult and really kind of too much effort for not enough return to go in and actually look at the streams of those podcasts. So what we did, we've set it up so that this event will report back to Facebook when someone actually goes and clicks to go and look at the podcast associated with a certain site. So that happens by going here to the menu and then clicking on podcasts. It takes them to this whole new site, but we can see how many people have actually taken that action on your site. The next one we set up is we have set up for when someone clicks on a radio station from the navigation page, right? So you've got up here, you've got this bar and people can select a radio station from here. And we've got it set up so that on Discover Esteban, it actually will go through and it'll sort out which station was selected using a few variables right here. It'll pull in the name of the station so you can see which station was actually streamed, which is powerful. And then finally, each radio station also has its own dedicated page. And if somebody clicks to play that radio station from the page, it will also fire this event right here to report back that same information. We've got that so that it fires on, it'll pass the information back to Facebook, back to your Universal Analytics. You can see that data there. And then finally on the new Google Analytics 4 platform, you'll have all that data being passed back as well. We have that set up for discoverestevan.com, cochranenow.com, and chvnradio.com. So be able to start with those, you'll be able to test that, and it's going to be really awesome because instead of just seeing, how many people clicked on the ads, you'll be able to actually see, okay, of people who clicked on this ad, how many of them actually completed listening to a podcast or started streaming the radio station. Will give you that power there to be able to see all of that data. Any questions on any of that? I know Brent and I have discussed it fairly at length, so he's been in the loop the whole time. But
just real quick, Daniel, we're tracking when they're clicking on the individual streams on that one page, and then you're also measuring time spent.
We're not measuring time spent because it goes to a different platform, but you guys have all that analytics within your system as well. So,
okay. Any question on the analytics or on the tracking or goals maybe that we haven't configured that are important, like publisher revenue, right? Google AdSense or, radio ratings, that kind of thing, other things we want to pull in the analytics.
At this, the stations are unrated, so that's not going to be a play at all. The other part is fundamentally the goal for us, like we're not going to increase the population in Estevan. So ultimately, how can I get them one more time? That's fundamentally it. And then I guess the next part, like I'm glad we're measuring what we're measuring, but at this point, I'm kind of curious how this looks and how we get to use it.
Well, in small areas, like we talked about here, this is not New York City. It's actually very easy to dominate. And so the dollar a day strategy and the content that we want to recommend running $1 a day against next, I think will be interesting to see. Do you have any plans to collect information like cell phones to be able to let people know about news, or email addresses or other things to be able to get them on multiple channels so we have a way to communicate with them?
We're using a text platform. We're snooping around on email newsletters and those pieces as well. But at this point, text is I think it's in place everywhere.
Okay. Daniel, can we go to the analytics real quick and see, because I don't see that. I didn't see that in the tracking as a source. We're not getting track, or we're just telling people to come to tune in. Where's the website? Normally email will go to website.
Load it up. It's loading. It may be going through the direct none if it may be some of that direct none traffic that we had listed
guys
later in the
done-
document.
Have you guys done analysis in Google Analytics to see where the traffic sources are and what's coming? Or curious, like, is that more like a Brent thing?
Is
So-
that
We'd be looking at that on a regular basis in terms of people coming to us directly and where they're coming from in terms of different socials,
Yeah. So yeah, Daniel, you could pull that up.
but nothing further in depth than that.
Okay. Because just going through the sites, I think that it'd be a killer way, especially because most of the traffic's on mobile, to collect that the text and the email address just as a free way to bring people back. You know, as you said, Doug, to have them come back multiple times. Social is a way to do it, but we're getting less and less traction there because it's more competitive.
Load it up right now. Sorry, it's taking a little bit to load on me.
And then Jeremy, get ready to share the success tracker. We can go through those pieces.
So, can I share the screen real quick? This is on CHVN radio is the one that pulled up first. So I will open that, share that one, and we can look at it. Expand it out too. So this is last, should be set at last, we'll expand it out to the last 30 days.
Yeah.
Expand it out so
So
we can
this
see.
is social and search traffic, which is good. And I'll cover SEO in a minute and how that plays in with the social traffic we have. Where's the email or text traffic coming in on?
I'm gonna guess it's part of this direct none traffic right here.
Oh, so you think it's untagged?
I think it's probably untagged.
Do you guys think we could add the tracking there so we could see where it's coming from? And then where on the sites are people signing up, or how do we, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so that'd just be adding simple UTM parameters to any links you send out in your emails or in your text, just so it can pass that information about where they're coming through back to the Google Analytics. It's not necessarily a tracking setup, it's the links you're actually sending out as part of these efforts.
Who can help us with that?
Doug, how do we use that text platform? I'm not familiar with it.
DHVN isn't on a text platform. So Text Group is the company that we've been using. I don't think these sites are using Text Group.
Okay.
Oh,
No.
we also have like one other source of traffic is, I think it only applies to Cochrane out of these three, but we do have an app for several of our portals, and we're working on building them out for all of them. So that's another, we do have notifications through there. So that's another potential stream.
Is that app then a separate property here in GA, or how are we tracking that?
Yeah, that we haven't had our eye on the traffic on the app in a meaningful way.
Okay. Without going too technical, is the idea that you want to track all the app events in GA4?
We've been looking into GA4, and maybe that would work. It's our trouble right now is that we're in like the other GA. So then to move over, we were just looking at that the last few weeks actually, and it would represent a big change in just the numbers that we're looking at. So we're not sure if we want to make the jump or just start feeding them in parallel. Your recommendation there? I think talking with Daniel is kind of what spurred us to investigate a little bit more.
Yeah, so we have GA4 set up to run alongside currently on the websites, but the app is definitely a different beast, different story to work with.
Right.
So
Yeah. And the whole
we-
shifted. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, we generally recommend running them in parallel as long as possible, just because right now, not all the tools that are available in Universal Analytics are available in GA4, but eventually, at some point down the road, Google is going to pull the rug on Universal Analytics and say, hey, we're done with this, move everything over to GA4. And the more data you can have in that new platform and have in the new system at that point, the better off you're gonna be, because you've been building it over the last, months, years, however long it takes for Google to make that full transition. And you're just prepared for whenever they make the full switch over.
Okay.
And then Doug and Trev, just so you guys know, the reason why we're talking about this is that Google all along Google Analytics has been tracking of web pages, like what happens on a website. So that's when we're talking about Universal Analytics, we're talking about people coming to a website and where people are coming from and the different page views that are on a website. So it's a web-centric view of the world. But the move to GA4 is to say that there's many things. So there could be apps, there could be other sorts of events, like anything that happens outside of a web page is how they fundamentally re-architected this new Google Analytics. So they're all forcing us. They've been talking about this for a long time, but it's been slow. But to Brent's point, the numbers are slightly different because they haven't moved all the features over. So we do have to straddle for now, but we will be forced. Google's going to force everyone onto this new thing. So especially with social media, I'm going to show you a few things that we detected in social media that I think will be really nice, that regardless of, which GA we use for our measurement. Because the last thing we want to do is, say, hey, we have these campaigns running, and now that we switch to this new source, our numbers are lower, and then, the board gets mad and things like that.
That's why we're not flipping the switch.
Yeah, exactly. Other things you want to share, Daniel, real quick, or we can hop into the analytics?
Nope, that covers what I've done so far, covers the tracking stuff we've got set up, and should be good to go.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel.
Leave you guys to it.
Awesome. And thank you, Brent, for working through with
Thanks,
that.
Daniel.
That's normally this first stage of 6 phases is normally the hardest one because there's some technical components, and often the business leaders and other people are like, why are they doing all this tracking kind of stuff, right? We just want to get to the content and the growth and, more streams. Okay. So this is what we call the success tracker, which we update once a month, but you'll see updates inside Basecamp. It's a 6-phase process. You want me to take the screen or just move forward as we go? Move forward as we go. Yeah. So these are the 6 phases. We have a course against each of them. People get certified going through our training. And that's why I wanted to make sure that, Doug, when you filled in the strategy assessment, so we know your goals, content, and targeting, that way we know we're tracking the right things, and that flows out of plumbing. And at the same time, we want to know what content was performing the best, which we can see inside primarily Facebook and inside Google Analytics for each of the 3 properties. And then targeting is pretty easy to do because it's just the regional targets, and all the changes that have happened on the social networks are removing all the targeting that we have anyway. And what I'd love to do in the next couple of weeks, if we have agreement from today's meeting, is start to practice $1 a day, which is module 5 there in amplification. So we want to take content that's evergreen, and it could be through retargeting. So we have a fair amount of traffic there, or people that we've tagged somehow because we have their email address, we have their phone number or something, and get them back multiple times, like you mentioned, Doug. And over time, we'll start to see people want, weather or sports or whatever it is, and we start to feed them things. And then optimization, as we have enough data, we'll be able to track along the way. So any questions on this along the way for this? No? Okay. So Daniel covered the plumbing. That's the first step, all those green checks there. And this is the first of these 3 phases of what we call getting stuff done. So the first step is what we've done. Second step is what we're going to do. And the third piece is what we need from you. So let's keep going. We can just go through that for each of these 3 properties. And if you guys don't have a copy of this, it should be in Basecamp. We update this all the time.
You want me to keep going?
Yeah. So we ran a quick little report. This is what we call the snapshot report. I wouldn't worry too much about these goals. These numbers are going to increase significantly. And the scoring tool also grades harshly. So if it sees anything that it doesn't like, it's just going to grade it very poorly. So you're going to see the numbers start to go up over time. And in smaller towns, we expect the numbers are not going to be as strong anyway. So it's all relative. Okay. There's some things around making the site load faster. There's some SEO improvements if you guys would like to cover that I think would be no-brainer sorts of things to do, such as passing links between popular articles to rank better on keywords that we're already ranking on. We're already ranking on brand terms, which I'll show you in just a minute. All right, keep going. And Jeremy, feel free to chime in. So Jeremy is our head of training and content. So he knows how to talk about all this. Just as some people like to hear me talk for some reason, but I'm happy to narrate this as well. So we see a lot of direct none traffic, which usually is an HTTPS issue, but I think given people their bookmarking radio stations or they want to come in more often to look at traffic here. Oh, you stopped sharing? You want me to share now?
Somehow my thing
Okay.
reset. So yeah,
Okay.
kick me out. Yeah, you can go ahead and
All
share.
I'll go in and share. All right, you guys see this all right? I'll send you this whole document in a minute. Okay. So what a lot of people will do in this scenario, especially agencies, is they'll say, well, we just need to produce more content and we just need to get more fans and increase these sorts of vanity metrics. But we know that that doesn't really mean anything, as we saw a little bit earlier. So in looking at these sites, like here for Estevan, you guys know you rank on 5,600 keywords, right? And we look at where the traffic's coming from. It's all branded keywords at the very top, which is what we'd expect, right? Estevan, 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 or geolocal. But then we see that the top shares, so I'm using this tool called crowd tangle are where we're getting traffic to the site from social. And what's interesting is like here for Discover Estevan, we have this meanwhile in Saskatchewan and other folks that are sharing. These are top shares that have been pulled from. Have you guys seen this before? This is where the traffic's coming from. But then if we look at CHVN, the top shares are all internal shares, which is kind of a glasses half full, glasses half empty kind of thing. You see this? So these are our own. And it could be because we're doing a slightly better job relatively on social here. So it's our own versus we don't have as much traffic here in general or as much social traffic. You guys looked at that? Or that's why I was asking the question earlier, Doug, about community management on identifying these people that are driving us the most traffic. So then we can encourage them and get them to, so basically it's like the creator influencer piece, right? To engage these people more so we get more shares. Like there's very little on, actually, no, this is one article. I was looking at the news article here. See, there's a lot less social sharing here relatively, you see. But what are you guys doing in terms of, or what do you think in terms of like engaging with the other people that are the most active as part of community management? Or maybe even like content curation. What is I'm just curious to see like what is your strategy on that?
At this point, I mean, the focus has been entirely on the individual stories, and then the thought behind that is if we get them coming to the stories enough, I mean, the brand is the brand is the brand. I mean, we're going to benefit out of that. But I sure see what you're saying about expanding reach and sharing with certainly other influencers.
Yeah, and what we found, I mean, Facebook by far is your top channel. I got to go back and do the Twitter one. It kicks me out every whatever month or so. But like I look at you have a little bit of a chicken and the egg because I come over here and I look at the like Twitter, for example. Oops, I'm gonna go back. I look at Twitter here and the chicken and the egg is that we don't have much traffic. So when we post, nothing really happens, right? So, and this is the problem with most organizations that do social media. They just post a bunch of stuff just because that's what they do, or someone's in charge of doing that, but nothing happens. So what I would love to do is take any of these pieces of news that are doing well on the website of things and then boost it locally. So small town boosting super easily and just, well, maybe not this trucker protest thing, but other kinds of content to boost it out for $1 a day and just to get more traction. So then that drives more people onto the site and more people to listen. So with the plumbing that we set up, we should be able to track that. And then with more reach, we will be able to show the advertisers or, show that our audience is growing. You said we're not tracked, but that's what the big thing is. We're not getting much of the social traffic. Like you would think a site that, you're like your DR37 here, and here's 47, there's 52. Like you would think that with that and 56,000 keywords, we would get more social sharing from the site and we get more social coming to the site. So I think some of the testing that we talked about, I think this is really ripe in just doing some of the $1 a day pieces. And then of the news we have for topics that can be evergreen, where we're ranking, like we're ranking on Shawn Mendes religion. I mean, that's interesting, right? This is what I was saying a couple of weeks ago about stuff that it's not like you have a bunch of stuff that's news, which is what we'd expect, but because it's evergreen, people are typing this in, there's things that we can do for pieces of content like this, like Bible verse of the day, but we can do different versions of this. Like we can literally just respin this article to be 2022 to get more SEO traffic and more social traffic. So if I look at this post, if you guys want access to any of these tools, let me know, because I'm on the advisory board for SEMrush and all these other kinds of tools. I can add you if you guys want. If any of you guys want to geek out, it sounds like maybe Brent wants to geek out. Maybe not so much Doug and Trev, but
this will be a deep dive, but it's really interesting.
Yeah, no, I definitely enjoy this. Yeah.
okay. So this is great because this is not a local news kind of thing, right? Or unless I'm mistaken, right?
Right.
So you have
No,
these
you're right,
things.
yeah.
You have these things, and plus it's smart because you have the YouTube embeds, which drives more, because that's SEO because Google owns it. You have a ton of ads. I wonder do you guys care about increasing the ad revenue from driving more? Did we talk about that, Doug?
I haven't got there.
Objective. So that's not is that an objective that you guys want to look at, or?
We end up in a funny situation, Dennis, where I mean, it's raising rates is really going to drop the overall number that we have engaged. And that's just, I think if we were in larger centers, we can absolutely push rate based on capacity and utility. We're not there in a lot of our centers. So it's how do we get them on, and then how do we increase them? And it's probably more a discussion on the sales side about how do we increase the relationship so that they're buying us into more products. And we use some of this stuff as almost like a loss leader. And it's kind of horrible to talk that way, but now it leads us into website development. Now it leads us into search engine optimization. Now it leads us into a whole bunch of other products that we have through home field. But get them on is there.
So the main thing is just raising traffic, is what you're saying. And when we raise traffic, then advertisers see more ad. You don't even care about the ad revenue on these pieces then, right?
And then certainly online, I mean, it's I think most have moved, and up to this point, the revenue model has just been subscription based. Here's your price, here's your ad, here's the size, here's what we charge for that. And now it's moving to a CPM basis, which I think we're going to pick up some clients through that. I think we're going to shed some clients through that. So it's transition. So there's going to be a decision point in there.
Right, because the CPM shows accountability. Now all of a sudden they care about the volume.
Yep.
If they see they're paying X, they're going to back into the CPM anyway, right?
Right. And with CHVN and probably Steinbach and a few of our other centers, we've just been charging far too little based on the performance of those sites.
Did I show you what we were doing for the Golden State Warriors and the sponsors there? I think maybe we covered that briefly with the other Doug.
I think initially you pulled up a deck. Yeah.
You guys don't follow basketball like we do in the States though, right? But
well, you might be surprised.
Well, we invented it, so we kind of.
Oh, okay.
We don't need to follow it because we invented it.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's right. We started it, and then we sort of went, we'll go goofy.
There's not enough hitting.
That's right.
Not the violence.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I showed you guys a few weeks ago for the Warriors. We were doing this. The sales team pulled us in because we needed to bring, they had these big sponsors like United Airlines and these sorts of folks that wanted to see a little bit more because they used to be paying just for the sponsorship, which gave them, box tickets and those kinds of things, but they wanted to hold us accountable to actually traffic and the chicken wings chain. They wanted to, see how many visits we were driving. They wanted to see performance. They wanted to see some stats as if they were advertising instead of just paying, $1 million a year or whatever it was. So we started creating these traffic reports for the different sponsors. The big ones, we just gave automated reports to the little ones because we basically had like 10 big sponsors and then like 200 ones that, didn't pay very much money, like less than 100 grand. And we were showing what the overlap was, what the top content was, and like between the different audiences. So if there's one or two you'd like us to run it for, we could repeat the same thing here, just to try to show more value to whoever the top sponsors are in each of the centers. Would that be of interest?
I think down the road,
Or we could even just prepare the report now, just to see if there's enough traffic. I mean, if the traffic isn't very good, then, we don't want to show them that.
Well, maybe if there's not a lot of hoops to jump through, then take a look at it. I think CHVN would be the one to play with. I think.
I mean, we have all the data. So if you can literally just tell us or go to the sales team, it doesn't take any effort. Just tell us like, who are the top 2 or 3 advertisers that you currently have, you're trying to make happy, or is there an advertiser you're trying to bring in, you're trying to woo them? Let us do something. You can then say, we have an analytics team that does research, right, on the overlap on the audiences to make sure that we're providing ongoing ROI for you. So you're not just sponsoring, or you're not just, measuring how many impressions you have, a CPM kind of thing. Would that be helpful? I'm always looking at it in terms of driving more revenue and proving that, especially for, like terrestrial radio, that there's value beyond just like being a sponsor, right?
Yeah, I think there'd be big value to that.
Okay. Who can give us just a couple of the advertisers that we can prepare some analysis on for each of the centers?
Brent, do you have those insights?
I can track them down. I would chat with a couple sales leaders to see who our people are there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything we do to make easy. And then Brent, can you get with Jeremy, who's going to help us project manage and is our content lead on this? Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
So we've done some of this analysis. We've looked at some of the content that we have in light of some analytics that's there, not there. And we want to put together what we call this 3x3 greatest hits, which is our best content that's evergreen, which a lot of it, I think, kind of like you said, Doug, is not like related to a particular, like it's something national, like Shawn Mendes, or and whatnot. And yeah, one's like, I don't think it's this one, but we looked at some of the top content, but these pieces of content we want to put into this format and start running $1 a day for each of these 3 centers. And the beauty of $1 a day is, especially a Canadian dollar, I think, what is that worth? Like a little less than a US dollar, is it costs us nothing to do a test. It's basically, $7 a post, because we boost each post for $1 for 7 days, just to see what drives the most engagement and see, does it drive site traffic? If we have video, does it drive video views? And then start to use that to say that, we are the number, 2 site in Estevan or whatnot. We can show our traffic rankings are going up by using social to do that. And the beauty is that when we have these articles that, for example, maybe have social share. I don't think you have social sharing enabled here on these ones, right? But when we there is, okay, let's see which side. I look at so many sites, I forget which ones I'm looking at.
At the bottom of the story, though.
Okay, you have this, but like one of the things I like to do is, this is sort of like, I don't think it's necessarily like black hat. I'm an admin on this site. I'll just show you. Everything that we're talking about doing is not a theory. It's stuff that we actually do. So this is an article, and it's got 16,000 shares. And we got a bunch of these. I happen to write the article because I'm guinea pigging these different things. And the sharing came from the boosting. And you can see the top refers to this article. If we implement showing, the social shares came from some posts that I ran. And basically the 16,000 shares all came from me, pretty much, right? So when people see, when they're here and they see an article like this, and we see that 16,000 people like this, it's just going to get more engagement and more readership and this kind of thing, even on the exact same content. All the studies have shown that that's the case. So we just want to find these ones that are doing the best, put $1 a day against it, show that, if there's some way we can implement a social share plugin that shows the counts, or if you have something like that in the works, I think it's going to perform even better. But even if we don't do that, we can still boost the top posts and then look in the analytics and look in a business manager to see how it performs. So the next week, Jeremy and I want to assemble the top pieces of content. You can see we've assembled some of these here, so we can boost it and see what happens. And some of them we have to change. We can edit the post after the fact, that, right? So when you say like, it's been 3 years since Need to Breathe was in town, right? We can modify this to be evergreen just by changing it a little bit, right? Yeah, this is evergreen. What's it like working from home when you're in radio, right? So we want to put the 3x3 on these ones. So we're going to spend maybe like $300 across all the stations. And like, even these are great, right? Even if it's an event, we can still take events and news to make it evergreen. The parade, the Filipino community, like this definitely can be evergreen with just changing the title a little bit, right? We did for the basketball team, Steph Curry shoots whatever, 12 3-pointers. We can, instead of saying last night Steph Curry scored, broke the NBA record, we can say on this day such and such happened, right? Just to drive more readership. And even though it's not directly related to the news station, or it's not or even related to like Estevan, it drives, the point is it just drives the traffic and readership, just to drive people in, not just to get garbage traffic, but people come back on that. So there's Cochrane, there's not much going on Instagram. I think it's more Facebook. I mean, you guys can see in the analytics, it's all Facebook. I don't know, maybe is that like a channel thing where the younger folks don't listen to the radio, or can we reach folks?
Like in terms of why we're not using Instagram as much?
Well, it's like Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and TikTok and the ones that are stereotypically for younger audiences.
Yeah, I think for us, part of it is how much time does everybody have in their day to take on the next thing, and then we've really driven Facebook to our leaders and our content people in terms of a way to provide a link so people can come back to the site. Instagram, harder to do that. So a lot of them aren't using it because it doesn't have that direct click a link, take it back to the website.
Yeah. Well, you can now embed links in Instagram.
Yeah.
And even Facebook's moving towards a TikTok-ish kind of thing, even though I don't like it, but you know, the short 15-second vertical video thing. And oh, have you guys seen, I know this seems kind of random. Have you guys seen Descript? Do you guys use that
Nope.
in your content production? So let me show you this one thing, and I'm happy to give you access to it as well. We got a ton of VAs. Let's see, where's our, hang on a minute. Oh, I know, because I have this here. So so the issue that you'd mentioned about, you know, bandwidth and just not being able to cover all these other channels, I think we can instantly solve with this tool that they just released a whole bunch of stuff. We've been using it for like 3 years, but basically it's part of the workflow, and we're happy to pilot it if you'd like us to take it on for like bandwidth. So you can see like here, we have like all these audio, video, whatever kinds of things. And we can take any of these pieces and automatically create social snippets against it. So in this case here, here's like a video, right? It could be whatever, right?
Items that you could possibly search for. So this is the tree.
Like whatever random kind of content, right? So we take one of these things and turn it into a social snippet.
I like the editing by transcription. That's fun.
Oh, this stuff is
Handy.
absolutely crazy. Look at this. So I can come here to Anderson, and this is all that AI deepfake sort of, you know, Minority Report sort of thing. So I can have this thing say whatever I want. So that article that we saw before, was it on Estevan? It was like, you know, the top tips in 2021. Like we can just change it here. So look at this. It's the AI had to generate it.
Today we're going to talk to Doug Anderson, guts of the internet.
See, so this turns into, we can take this and turn it into an Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Where is the thing, Jeremy? Where's the thing that switches it into that?
It switches it to what?
Where is that thing that turns it into the, like the Instagram video and all that? I forget where it is.
You know, the other thing with radio, you can actually do audiograms directly into script. So you can.
Yeah,
you
but
can
the audiograms, the video, all of that. Where is that? Where they? I thought it was right here.
Well, I have to get.
Yeah, some of us have been using tools like Headliner and other video editors too to kind of generate some of that, but this is much more integrated.
Oh, I know.
you
I gotta
got-
drop in the image. Yeah.
Have you guys done much of that? Audiograms or anything?
In some places, yeah, it's really been more based on, can we find a staff person who is keen on it, understands the technology, understands it, and is willing to play with it. So
Let us take that. That way you don't have any sort of resource or staff limitations. Let us make a few examples of derivative content. So we're not making new content. We're just taking the content you have and repurposing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
For social media. So let us create ones that we think will work automatically on Facebook stories and Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter. And then, yeah, give us a week or two to put some of these together. And if you like it, then we're just going to run it through what we call this content factory and publish it on these other channels. That way it's no extra effort and it's incremental traffic and it gives us more analytics and that kind of thing.
Okay.
You guys are cool with that. All right. And Jeremy's going to write it down to hold us accountable, right?
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at the Kansas view slideshow. Okay. We said that Estevan has a really high direct none, but that we think is, what do we say, Brent? We're saying that's because we think that we have a lot of type in on this. People just navigate it like bookmark. and
That
then
could be,
Google it.
if that's what that could be, then yeah, direct would make sense. There's a lot of people that back in the day, we'd always say, make Discover Estevan your homepage, that kind of thing. So I don't know what percentage still do that.
It
I would
seem
say
to make
quite
sense.
high because that site's been around for a long time.
Okay. So the 25 is really high, but I think it's okay for like 25. Like we would normally see this on like a CNN or like a major, like a, you know, like the really the New York Times, these kinds of guys. But it certainly makes sense. I would normally say it's a tracking issue, but for media companies, it looks okay. And your goal completions is way higher. So it shows that this is repeat traffic probably, even though it's not. By definition, direct none means Google tells us we don't know where they came from. So by definition, we also don't know if it's repeat traffic because there's no referring agent, basically, is what they're saying.
I'd be surprised if Cochrane would be the same, only because it's so much younger.
Yeah, exactly. So if we go to Cochrane, we see direct none is down here at 16%. The funny thing is that I wouldn't have thought that the Google organic would be so high relative, because then you can see all these other sources are really just Facebook. You see like this L dot, LM dot, M dot, those are all just link shims on Facebook, but they're all just Facebook. Like this is the different versions of mobile basically on Facebook, these items.
We do drive quite a bit of traffic by talking about the site on our radio stations. So I think a lot of people will type in Cochrane Now in their Google search bar. Yeah. And find us that way.
And then I think if we popularize some of the features, we can get a lot more traffic to them. Like this is what the second refer in terms of gold. This is one of our top pages. Because, of course, people want to see what's going on, but no one's linking. We're not even linking to it internally. So if you guys will give us permission, we would love to recommend some links or just go ahead and make some of these cross links on the site too.
Be in articles and other content. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. And not in a non-spammy way, just internal link power. If you guys are cool with that. I mean, shoot, I built the analytics of the search engine 20 years ago. So, I mean, I kind of want to do SEO if you guys are cool with it. And there's also, do you have like some policy where you're like archiving articles or destroying URLs? Because doing a site link, a site colon search there's not as many URLs as, I think this is hurting our SEO, unless there's some weird thing where you're like, you have some weird canonical issue or a sitemap issue, but like there's not, I think there's way more on CHVN. I did this like 2 weeks ago, so I forgot. Let's see. I was looking at it, but I was remembering like, there's not, like, this is low. Even I have more links than I have more pages live than this. What happened?
I wonder if it's because of when we updated the website, some of these early ones, we changed, the URLs did change. So like all the content is there, but maybe wasn't, I don't know. Are you saying it's over history? Like there should be all the URLs for all the articles should be there right now, but
they're not, you see?
They should be on your sitemap.
But it doesn't matter. They're not being indexed.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. I should look at that.
Try steinbachonline.com.
Steinbach Online.
ACH.
I can't spell.
Yeah. Well, that's all good.
And let's check Esteban too, actually, because we did some different things with that one.
So this is still the old format.
Yeah.
So
this is got a lot on it. This is wow. This is the most powerful SEO I've seen of all the properties so far. This is going to have a lot because it ranks for this many keywords. It's going to have a lot of pages. 56,000.
Is that low? That sounds.
That is a little lower than I would have thought, but it's way more than the other ones at like 14,000 and 17,000. Come on, we should be over 100,000, right? Not just like generating fake pages for the sake of saying we have more indexed pages, right? I mean, heck, this is even including all the tag-driven pages, which like basically double the number of pages we have indexed.
Brent, would our old system from years ago of archiving stories influence this?
I don't know. Maybe. Like they're still accessible. So I don't know. Yeah, we'd have to look at what Google's seeing that way.
Okay. So Mr. Jeremy and I will do a little SEO audit and come up with some recommendations. And then if that's cool to you, and maybe we can meet back in like a week and a half and talk about this. Because I want these things like this. You have what I calls the glasses half full kind of thing, where when I see stuff like this, that not that I want to laugh at misfortune or anything like that, but this is usually a good thing for us, because then we can show this increase by fixing a few things. But we never want to make anyone look bad. So if you have someone who's in charge of SEO, we're not trying to embarrass them or anything like that, right?
I think it's too late, Dennis.
Oh, it's not Brent though, is it?
What you're noticing is that we don't have someone in charge of SEO, I think.
Yeah, no, this is good. I'm not here to blame anybody, right? We're just, having a good time. So
After this call, I mean, the three of us will get together and figure out whose fault this is, and it won't be any of us.
I might not be at the next call.
You know what happens is you always blame the consultant. So blame us. Seriously, anytime you hire the agency, you always blame the agency. That's why you hire the agency. Seriously, do you know how many times we've taken the blame for something that happened way before we came in? All the time, right? Because we're not employees. Employees, it's best to blame the agency.
Yeah, I don't want to play that card too early. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna do some of these SEO audits. Are there particular tools that you guys like to use, or maybe Jeremy? Did we connect in Search Console and these other pieces?
That's what I was going to ask you.
I don't remember seeing that in there.
I think we would have, but that was a while back, so I don't remember specifically.
And let's see which We should have their access. I have more big websites in the analytics than you've ever seen. Okay. Okay, let's see. Go to CHVN. Yeah, I mean, I know that this wasn't part of the scope, but I think doing some SEO stuff could really be nice in increasing the traffic. There's a GA4.
It's pretty brand new, so
Okay.
the old one would have more.
Okay. Yeah, let's see here. Okay, yeah, see, it's not, we didn't tie it together yet.
We have it set up on Search Console, but maybe not connected.
Oh yeah, so that's part of our whole like tag manager setup where you're right, like setting up AdWords or Search Console, but we want to tie everything into GA, right? We want to feed the beast everything that it wants, right?
We don't have access to their Google Search Console. I just checked. So
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Cool. Well, more. Can you help us on that, Jeremy? You're our SEO guy.
sure.
That's so odd that we don't have like these guys. There's like no refer traffic from these other guys, and even Steinbach online, as much power as it has, refers like no traffic. Why is that? How is it Reddit provides more traffic than Steinbach online? Random. Okay, so we looked at the analytics, and we can see that the conversion goals, I guess, being relatively new, we're not affecting the goal that you guys are asking us to do. The most popular pages are not as evergreen as we like, but we want to try to boost them by creating social variants that we're then going to boost. So we're going to cross post it, meaning it's going to live socially, right? A snippet of it. We're going to boost a set of posts that we're not going to boost it till we get your permission. We'll send over a list of these. You guys give us approval. And we're going to do a little SEO analysis to see, once we get Search Console and these other pieces, why are these other pages not driving us more traffic? And why are they not showing up in Google across all three of these? So I think that's a good next step until our next meeting. Are there other things you guys want to cover?
Is there, yeah, let us noodle around on the boost piece. I mean, but I think, yeah, the links, certainly with Cochrane, when you mentioned traffic cam, that makes sense to me. If you want to play in that, that's awesome. I think if Jeremy and Brent can scratch their heads on two parts, I guess, why you see things underperforming as far as referrals, and then some of the archive content that we're not getting scored on. That's kind of got my attention. But even as you were saying, Dennis, that Steinbach online is better numbers. But if I'm comparing the overall performance of that site against the others, it's consistent.
Yeah. I mean, look at all the Shawn Mendes stuff. Shawn Mendes this and Shawn Mendes that, but they're not linking to each other, right? So that would be a nice little SEO thing to do, right? It's not black hat at all. So we should be getting way more search traffic off of these. Shawn Mendes this, Shawn Mendes that. I mean, it might as well be the top site for Shawn Mendes. Good grief.
That Lauren Daigle one is the one that was we were scratching our heads over that one. It was one of the top ones. Yeah,
This
that
one?
one. Because that one gets, thousands of views over like a month. And like, we're just trying to figure out why.
Oh, well, because you got it from Google. And the social sharing, let's see. Well, not that much on social. It was your own sharing.
It's just Google results.
Yeah, it's SEO. Yeah.
Crazy.
And Lauren, it's all gonna come. Oh, because I need to change the time frame here. That was like May or something, wasn't it?
Last week.
What was it, last week?
Or no. Sorry, you're searching this week.
Like May of 2021, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So you had this one thing. Oh yeah, here it is. Wow. Well, no, wait. Oh, this is what they're showing us where it came from. All right. I think we have a tracking issue. This can't be right. Do I have another
Because
fix?
you have the text in there, not the URL, or does it matter?
It's pulling up this page because I'm under the content, right?
Yeah.
Why is it showing?
It's because there's that suffix at the end of the something
yeah.
appended there. So it's grabbing that text equals
that's true.
part, but not the URL.
There's some weird formatting in this thing here. Okay, well, why is that that's the only page it's showing here? We'll figure it out. I don't know why it's showing like that. But whatever it is, I think we can take more. What do you think? Look at all these Bible verse of the day. I mean, and American Idol. These are like all the tabloid sorts of searches. People, we just need to drive traffic, like Matthew McConaughey, of course, right? Look, these should all link to each other, shouldn't they? Is so-and-so a Christian? Is Doug Anderson a Christian? All these ones. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So we'll do some analysis with some recommendations. And then is there a webmaster person we need to work through, or like Brent maybe, just to test some of these things and see what happens?
Yeah, I could help direct that stuff at least.
Okay, Cool. Yeah, I mean, these sites are great. I mean, they're all like DR50. We have thousands of links. We have like 20,000 plus keywords on each of them. We have some sites that are DR70 plus if you guys want to post.
What does that mean? DR.
Oh, so here, I'll show you like. So if we look at, I'm using different tools, like we could use Ahrefs or SEMrush or, whatever it is. But here, like CHVN, the domain rating of a 52
Domain
is on a 0 to 100 scale, and it's on a log scale. So every 10 points higher is basically 10 times more powerful, like an earthquake, like a Richter scale.
Okay.
So here at the domain level, we have, I don't want to go into the whole SEO geek thing unless you guys want. We have 250,000 backlinks. And these are links that other people, mostly other people are linking to us, but it can be internal links where we're linking to our own stuff. And it's coming from 1,800 referring domains. And this allows us to rank on 56,000 keywords at the overall level. This page, though, has only 4 links to it, which are going to be all internal. And it ranks on 107 keywords, which are all variants of Shawn Mendes this and Shawn Mendes that. So the more juice that page has, then the more it can rank, basically. So this one, Southern Atheist, is Shawn Mendes LDS. Now we rank on number 12, second page, right? Like, what does that have to do with whatever? Well, Google thinks that that's kind of close, right? Shawn Mendes. Paul, you can see, like, even this, the atheist to believer, still Shawn Mendes, still all of these are, this one URL happens to cover all of these search terms because that's what Google thinks. So because we're not cross-linking, and because this particular page has a URL rating of only 11, it doesn't have as much power, right? So if we raise the URL, if we pass the juice, like you guys understand, like juice is like, here's a little bucket of like some juice, and here's some juice. And if I pour this juice into this one has more. So we're just trying to move our juice to where we have the most power, so the pages that matter the most to us get more traffic, right? Jeremy's laughing because he thinks go.
No, well, I was just going to say it has to do with authority. So DR has to do with authority. So it basically, it ranks websites according to, like, the more authoritative they are, the higher DR they're going to have. And so you can use that to kind of like say, like, yeah, Dennis is pulling up the Washington Post. So they're going to have a higher DR than you, and they'll,
Yeah, Washington Post is a 93, right?
Right.
And then of course they're mentioning me, and then they can link to me. So that's the reason why I have high, like my personal blog has a ton of power, is because I get cited in the media and then they rank to me. So a site that has a 93 that links to me is passing a ton of juice, versus some random blog that has like DR3, there's like not even worth it, basically, right? And so when we have these other sites, and we were just looking at Steinbach, that's got a lot of power. We just had it open a second ago. So we just need to distribute our juice in a non-spammy kind of way, right? That's all SEO is really, So I had one of these tabs open. We were looking at Lauren Dingle, or where were we? Yeah, May 27th. So this one has 9 links to it, and the links are, Reach FM. Okay. Oh, we lost this one. Oops. So there's only a few. These are not even internal links. So we have like 0 internal links. So this sounds like I think there's a few easy things we can do to drive more traffic here.
That's a big win.
Yeah. So Doug and Trev, if this is too geeky, we're basically saying there's a few things that we can do together with Brett that Google would like, and would give us more rankings, higher positioning on these other keywords that we're not positioned as well on.
And when you're saying internal ranks, are those things that we should be doing on the content side as well?
Yeah, basically on every article, we should be linking between other things that are related, right?
Yeah.
So if we're talking about the voice, like not too much, but probably like, Christian artist here, or the name of the person, or other things we could definitely do. And then maybe even make these things, Justin Bieber. I thought there was one on Justin Bieber, or maybe link to that, right? There's ways to do it automatically, which I guess is better than not doing it all, but it's usually better to start with the top pages and then have a human actually put the links in there. Yeah.
The related story below, does that count at all? Is that?
Yeah, it does. You can see there's a link here.
Yeah. Okay. So it's counting that link as well, because we tend to do more of that, the related stories, than we do obviously of the links inside of the text inside the stories.
Yeah.
But we can definitely do both.
Yeah. And I wouldn't do this on all of them. I would literally just start with the top 50.
Yeah.
I would, go here to Google Analytics and look at the top.
How
top
far back do you go on that?
As far back as we can, because the whole thing with Google is it's evergreen. It's not news like the last week. It's just overall, because most of the traffic we see, if we look at our top pages, it's going to be from, well, we'll do analysis on it, but usually the pages that drive the most traffic are from a long time ago, even on news stations. Yeah, like the latest news, like that's not even going to be like 10%, 15% of our overall traffic if we do it right. Because we rank on these evergreen terms. So the social media thing is not just to get out there and try to push the latest news. That's what most broadcasters do. What we're trying to do is get stuff in there that will stick and then just continue to give us a trickle in an extra 100 visitors a month or whatnot. Now we got, 10,000 articles that are giving us a bunch of traffic. Now that's how we win. That's what we're doing here. We're not just trying to like make more posts for the heck of it,
That sounds smarter than trying to be the first to post whenever there's news happening or something.
Yeah, I mean,
You got to do both.
I mean, good luck competing with the tabloids, right? All right.
Thankfully, we're not trying. That's not who we're after. So
No. Are there other things you guys want to cover?
I think I'm okay. I'm happy with a couple of next steps that are fairly firm. And if we can dial back in next week and just kind of see what that looks like.
Yeah.
So that's good.
And then to your main point, Doug, I just love driving more traffic for offline. Any kind of terrestrial stuff is usually going to be a lot easier because they don't really cross the digital very well, right? They don't blend them together. So there's a bunch of great things here. I'm very excited about that. Yeah.
Cool.
Trev, Brett, or Jeremy, thoughts? Feeling good?
It's good.
Awesome.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you,
Brent,
gentlemen.
I'll email you and we can just touch base that way. So
Perfect.
sounds good.
Yeah, let me know what you need.
Yeah. And then you two coordinate. I see you two in the bottom of the screen. I don't know if you guys see it in the same place. So you two work your magic and then pull the rest of us in as you need. And when we have something that we think is good, let's schedule a meeting and discuss.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Sounds good.
great.
Thanks a
All
lot.
right.
Thanks.
All right.